Greetings out there in YouTube land. This is Morris Man. And as always, I thank you guys for coming to my channel. And at this point, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to entitle this video. Maybe a very weird, strange comment. And the reason why I'm doing a video on this comment because there's some things I want to expound on. Because that comment kind of triggered some memories when I first started to play in bands and the different personalities that you had to deal with in situations. But before I get into that, I'm just going to mention the comment. I did a cover per request, paid request, for one of my subscribers, and he wanted me to do the bass line to a song called Tell Me by the group Groove Theory. And that, I think that song came out in the late 90s. And to me, that's when I was still cool with R&B music. You know, you can hear the talent. You know, it wasn't, well, I'm not going to get into that. That's a whole nother video. But it was one of my favorite last eras of R&B music that I kind of follow. And it's a funky song. And the bass line carries the tone. I mean, it's, again, that was during the era when I'm like, yeah, I'm still feeling this, you know, great musicians on the tracks, great singing, great compositions, you know. So someone left me a comment that I found to be extremely weird because it's like, really, man? And his comment was, and I'm going to try to say it verbatim because I deleted it, you can easily tell that the bass line wasn't created by a bass player. How? And why does that make a difference? It's like, who cares? And that brought me back to, again, when I first started playing in bands, and you go through a lot of interactions with people. And the reason why that comment brought back those memories, because to me, that was an arrogant comment. It's like, well, first of all, you just assuming. And again, second of all, who cares? Why does that make a difference as long as it's good music? And it has a sense of arrogance, being arrogant. You know, only bass players can create bass lines. Some of the funkiest bass lines were created on synthesized Moogs. You know, Flashlight, hello, you know. I just did a cover of, what is that, Confunction, Love Train. And the bass line is done on the synthesizer. And it sounds really good, you know. So I remember those days of joining bands, and everybody thought that they were better than everybody else. They were theory heads. That's why I first coined that theory. Theory heads, guys that want to sit around discussing debate music, still to play the damn thing. I'm like, I'm here to play. I'm not here to sit here. That should be an F sharp. Well, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about that. I just want to entertain people. Because the people that I'm entertaining don't give about that neither. You know, so it's like, your agenda is totally different from the majority of us, meaning that I'm just here to create good music with some nice guys, you know, great musicians. That's what I'm here for. I'm not here to debate and, you know, it should be done in this key and blah, 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 blah. And I remember one of the first bands that I joined, and I quickly exited the same day after I got home and unpacked my gear. I'm like, no, I can't play with these guys. They were weed heads. The majority of the guys in the band went to smoke. The majority of the session was about getting ready to smoke weed after the session, you know. And we were in high school, and they just weed heads. I'm like, I ain't with this, man, you know. I come in with a clean head, and I want to leave with a clean head. I don't need to put any poisons in my body that's not necessary. And when I say that, I mean like drugs. Sometimes you do have to take drugs, you know, to help make you feel better or cure what you're dealing with inside, but only for a short period of time. But I think one of the most disturbing auditions that I ever had to go to, and I just mentioned this to my wife just yesterday, and I found this so, I guess, disheartening, because someone kept pestering me, come up here and help us out, you know, they was a part of a church and they wanted me to come and, come sit in and play guitar for us until we find us a gospel musician. And since I respected the friendship of that person, I went on and did it for that person, because I would have not done that. And I tried to describe reasons why in this video before I sign off. And I'll try to remember that. But I went to the church. And at that time, I was a professional player, and I played well, you know. I could read and all that stuff at that point. And I said, okay, since this is church and I'm not a gospel musician, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I went to church every Sunday, because there's nothing in the Bible to say that you can't worship in your house. There's nothing in the Bible that says you got to go to a church and you got to sit there and beat a tambourine and all that. There's no mention of that. So I elected to do that at home, because I ran across a whole lot of phony ass people. And I hold church people to a little higher standard because they're church people. And a lot of them that I interact with, and I'm only speaking from my own personal experience, were worse than the regular people. Okay? But anyway, so I went there and I played a list of a lot of Earth, Wind, and Fire songs, because actually Earth, Wind, and Fire songs are very religious and spiritual. They just got an R&B flavor to them, But if you listen to the words or the themes, Serpentine Fire and other Bible references, they're spiritual. So I played these songs, and that's not bad, but we're looking for that. And I felt this sense of disconnection as far as you're not a part of this group. And again, it was so disheartening, because I'm like, these are church people, and they're supposed to welcome everybody with open arms, as opposed to being more segregated than regular people. So I've always had issues with that religious thing. Should I share this story? No, that's too personal. But it has to do with religion. But and then you run into, when you're in groups or auditioning for groups or playing with groups, you run into this too. Animosity and jealousy, because I was in this one group, and I'm a rhythm player. I do the lead stuff. I can do that, but that's what I like doing. I like playing the chorus instead of ticky, ticky, ding, 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 ticky. I don't want that picking stuff. I'm like, I want to play the meat of the song, or be part of playing the meat. Like Nile Rodgers, part of playing the meat. So instead of just be refined to ticky, ding, ticky, ding. So they were hiring a lead player. And they already had a rhythm player. I'm like, well, okay, I do lead, but I really want to do the rhythm. But I respect the fact that they already had a rhythm guy. When I came in and I was playing the lead stuff, but in between some of the songs I would play, some songs that I knew, the rhythm stuff. And I'm a pretty good, decent rhythm player. And the guy that was playing in the band wasn't. He was also their lead singer, and he was not a good singer at all. But I didn't say anything, because I'm like, I'm a hired hand. I'm just hired to play the songs and keep my mouth closed. Because I'm saying to myself, if I was this band's coach, the guy that played drums sounded like David Ruffin. Hello, I would have put him up there singing lead. And then the lead guy, sent him packing, because, he wasn't a good fit. They had an awesome bass player, I'm like, and then I would, would like to fill in and do the rhythm, and then bring in a nice looking dude to do lead. And like, we good. But again, that wasn't my band, and that wasn't my decision. So, in between some of the songs, I would, the songs that they had on the playlist, I would play some stuff, because they're like, play some stuff, So I played it, and then the bass player put me to the session, man, you are a far better rhythm player than what we got. And I know that, and I'm like, well, it is what it is, and I was hired to do this, but the rhythm player wasn't too happy about that. And I can understand, even though I was not jockeying for his position or being disrespectful or saying anything that was out of pocket. I came in, this is what they want me to do, I did it. We go out there, play, get paid, and then call it a day. But I eventually left that band, because I'm like, I really want to do the rhythm. And the guy that's doing the rhythm, wasn't really that good. And I remember when I listened to him, I'm like, man, he reminds me of me when I first started. And what I mean by that is, before I can learn how to read and was really taught well by an instructor, and I stress that, an instructor, I would play chords that were kind of made up. And it's like, okay, I'm hearing the same stuff I was doing 10 years ago, Instead of this is the actual chord, and these are the notes in that chord. Nothing more, nothing less, But I found that to be pretty interesting, that comment, because it's like, well, first of all, no one really cares. And that's that bass player arrogance, or musician's arrogance, or And should I share this story? I'm thinking about, because I'm trying to be respectful. I'm not trying to say anything negative against anybody, because that's not my style. If I don't have really anything good to say, I don't say nothing. There's some things that are not kind of right that I speak on, and I speak on those because I want to educate the young folks. And speaking of that, there's a perfect segue into this last little comment, then I'm going to sign off. I do a lot of bass covers now. And I had someone say, "Oh, you're a great bass player, and I can learn a lot from you. Could you help me?" And the song that they left a comment on, I do the notations for us. Play this note. Then if you're playing octaves, I'll say F octave. And they said, "By the way, what's an octave?" And I said to them, the best advice I can give you, coming from an older musician, is do what I did. And what I did was I went and got a qualified teacher one-on-one, and they taught me. You are not going to learn how to become a good musician watching YouTube videos. I repeat, you will not be able to become a good musician simply by watching YouTube videos. Now, YouTube videos are great as far as a supplementary part of picking up stuff, because I've learned some stuff. I can't even pronounce his name. But I learned a lot from that guy. He's an older guy from Texas, and he taught me double stops, and how important they are to play 60s music, guitar style 60s music. What is his name? Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. But that's the best advice I can give any young, aspiring musician. Don't sit here and watch my fingers and think you're going to become a caliber player like myself or other people. We didn't learn that way. We learned by somebody coming to our house for 30 minutes a day or an hour. We going over to somebody else's house, and they start teaching us, and they give us these books and things to start working on, scales, chords, finger exercises, things of that nature. But I know you don't know what you don't know, and this is for you young folks. Just go get lessons and pay the people that are teaching you. Don't expect people to devote their time to you hours on end for free. It's just not right. A man should be a man. He pays his debts. And a woman should be a woman. She pays her debts. She's not excluded from that neither. But I just thought I would put that on the tail end of this video, because, again, that's important. Go get a teacher. Don't expect that you're going to learn by just watching Morris Smith finger. Move the camera over. I can't see your fingers. There's nothing wrong with coming to my channel and learning things. That's what I'm here for. But as far as learning the instrument, go get a teacher. I've had people that tell me they want to learn these songs, but they don't know how to play the instrument yet. Well, learn how to play your instrument first, then come back to the songs. You're working backwards. And you would know that if you went and enlisted the help of an instructor, because you don't know what you don't know. That's why you need instructions. You don't walk in and you know exactly what you're supposed to do when you do it. Because if you did, that'd be different. But, most of us, if not all of us, we venture off into some, and we know we have no idea what we're doing, but we're going to try to figure out and stumble our way through that, And that may be okay for some things, but some things, like, just go get lessons. There's very talented people out there that are willing to help you guys. Find those people. I'm sure they're on the internet. On the internet, you can go in and have these instructors that will teach you online. I mean, me personally, I think person to person is better. But if you can't do person to person because of distance or whatever, especially now due to the pandemic, you got people online that can teach you. So on that note, I'm going to sign off. But I found that comment to be interesting because, again, it triggered those memories of interacting with people in band settings that you don't want to be bothered with because they want, smoke weed, or they think they're better than you, or they jealous because you better than them, blah, 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 But on that note, I'm going to sign off till next time. Take care, and thanks for watching.